Okay, so we're going to create new user profiles for Windows, CDK, and email. So today, let's bring up our case. Our first training case is new F&I manager. The first training case we're going to set up here is for Toyota of Manhattan as the requester. We're going to set up a new F&I manager, John Smith. And here we go. First thing we're going to do for Windows, we're going to create our user in Active Directory. So we're going to launch Active Directory on our computer. We're going to launch Active Directory, which is right here. Okay, it's going to bring us into our Bay Ridge Auto PDC. Our domain is going to be highlighted, grahamcorp.net. We're going to expand that. We're going to expand the Bay Ridge Automotive Management Organizational Unit. After that, we're going to go and expand the Administration Organizational Unit and Dealerships Organizational Unit. Under Dealerships, you're going to see all our locations. Expand the Manhattan location, Toyota OU, and the F&I OU. At this point, you could do one of two things. You could either create a new user by right-clicking and creating a new user, or you can basically shortcut this and right-click on a current F&I setup and go ahead and click on copy. What that's going to do is it's going to copy his profile access type. At this point, it's going to ask you for first, last name, and full name, and login ID. So at this point, we are going to configure John Smith. Now, when you put in the first and last name, it's going to automatically populate the full name, okay? What you got to do is you got to set up a new user account for these guys. Now, typically, what we do on our domain is we use the last name, first initial. Sometimes it's taken.
You mean first initial, last name?
No. For Windows, last name, first initial. Now, in the case that Smith J is already used, okay, and I'm just going to do this just for testing purposes. You know that user is already used. It's me. Okay, if I go ahead and hit next, it's not going to allow me to create this user. The user login you have chosen is ready and used in the enterprise. So it's going to ask you for a different one. So if we go ahead and put Smith J right now, and Smith J is already taken, it's going to give you the same error. If not, it's just going to go to the next screen and ask you for a temporary password. So Smith J is not on our system. Okay, so now we're going to assign a temporary password.
Now, can we use first and last names for Windows logins?
The only time I use first initial last name is if Smith J was already taken, then I try J Smith. Now if J
you don't want full
Smith,
names.
no.
And accessor, I use full names.
No, well, it makes it that much harder for the person. You know, just look. The son of B, Pena D. Now, if Pena D is taken, I use D Pena. If D Pena is taken, then I use David P. If David P is taken, David Pena. So you could just, you know.
Okay. So now, once you get past the screen, you put the password in.
Now the password, this is only a one-time user password.
And then they'll have to reset it.
And then they'll have to reset it. So what's going to happen here is I always use password 1 with a capital P.
Capital B. And
okay.
Every Windows login needs a capital, right?
One capital letter, one lowercase letter, and one number.
So you can actually put three characters in there?
No, it has to be at least 6 characters in length.
So at least one capital and one numerical number.
Correct. And it'll tell you that when you first log in too. Okay, so your password, my temporary, I always use password, the number 1, password, the number 1. And now in here, user must change password and next login.
Correct. Initial
okay, login. So click on that and then next. And finish. See, copy from Glenn Reggio.
Okay.
Okay. Finish. Now, at this point, okay, you see how it didn't add the description and everything? It doesn't, when you create a new user, even if you copy, it doesn't copy that with it. So if you open up the user again, these fields I populate.
Now, would you have to populate these fields with right-clicking, creating new user?
No. First, you'd always have to create the new user, and then.
So this is a two-step process.
Yeah. What are you saying? If I go to
right-click new. I just want to show you the difference.
New user.
Yeah.
No, it's still
Same
gonna
exact
take
window
you
as
to the
copy.
same. Yes, exactly. So what I do.
So there really is no difference between right-click copying and right-click new.
No, there really is. The only difference is when you right-click and copy, it copies the member of. Okay, it copies the member of, and it copies the department and the company of the organization.
But yet doesn't pull to the main description.
It doesn't pull the main description.
It's weird, right?
No, that's Microsoft. Yeah.
Now, will this do internet filtering too? Is what I have
Yes.
right now.
Yes. This
How does it
doesn't.
know? How does it know?
I'll tell you right now. So what I do when I come back in here, I go to description, and I
So
put
this
in
is right. Oh, okay, got it.
Toyota of Manhattan, an office department. So I put in sales, telephone number, the email address I'm going to give this guy, Jay Smith, Toyota of
What if that's taken?
Manhattan.com. We're going to assume it's not taken.
Should I put an email address in there for them or no? Or leave it alone?
No, you're not creating the email address in here. This is just a reference field for you on Active Directory.
Correct. Now, let's say I put that in there. before
Yeah,
I
well,
create an email. Now gotta
I would
go-
have to create the email first. True, you're right. Create the email first, so at least you know it's not taken. All right, I'm just assuming here.
Okay.
But let's go into that anyway. Let's make certain. Toyota Manhattan. Log in. We'll create the email address now. Email accounts. Add. Jay Smith. Okay, if you go back to your spreadsheet,
And this spreadsheet has all the
yeah, so Toyota of Manhattan, which is down here, okay, it has all the configs, and then at the end, your password.
Yep.
That's basically what I do here. Go in there. Copy. Paste.
and everybody gets a 200 megabyte limit unless they're a manager or
Unless
something
you
like that.
know, I
They're
mean,
requesting it.
as time goes on, you'll know which people are going to need a bigger mailbox than others. Typically, an F&I manager, no. A general manager, yes, because he gets ads. He gets
Let
ads
me
from
ask
the.
you, how big is our Fuse Mail account? Is it like 100 gigs or
No,
something like that?
you're built for You're built for this. So, for instance, a 200 meg account, you could be built $1.38 for the month.
Okay.
When you go to 10,000, you're built $5 a month for that user. When you go to 100,000, you're built $10 for that user.
Really? So, that's why we keep
So that's why I keep everything
now, what if we
low.
delete them from Fuse Mail, which they should be, we shouldn't be charged?
Exactly. You're not charged anymore. Okay, so 200 megs. And this is John Smith, right?
Yeah.
Jay Smith.
Now, will that tell me that it's already being used if I put J Smith up top there?
No. When you
It'll
go
only
to
tell me when I
go to create this right here,
Yes.
either it's successfully created or it didn't. You'll see an X up here.
So you think
Add new email account. J Smith. Toyota Manhattan. Create.
So do you think I should just try that first before I fill out all the information, see if it's taken first?
Try what first? To create the account?
before I go into Active Directory, before I fill any of this stuff out at the bottom here, just go ahead and pop it.
Listen,
pop
if you
it
want
in.
to create your email account first, by all means, I don't care.
You ever find yourself going back and fixing things?
Sometimes I create this first, sometimes I create ADP first. Doesn't matter how you create the account. I mean, being that I want you to populate that information in Active Directory,
Yeah, 'cause
maybe
that's-
it's best if you create this first. All right, so back into John Smith. We already know that's available.
it's available.
Okay, now, see these domain users with social networks? Member of is what tells you what they can view on the internet. That's websites.
Okay.
Okay, so let's just apply this right now. So this guy has a regular domain user access, but with the added ability to go to Facebook, to go to Twitter, to go to Instagram, any social media sites. Okay? So if you want to change this in here,
Why would they need to do that though?
okay, so you create this user, right, John Smith, and you know he's a regular domain user with social media access, right? Tomorrow, Frank Venti calls you, Venti Million, the general manager there, and he says, Alvy, listen, or he opens up a ticket. I don't want any social media for this guy. You know, I caught him on Facebook, blah, 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 whatever. I don't want this guy to have social media access. Very simple. You go into the user, double click on him, go to member of, and see this ad? You can remove without having at least one member account in there. So you can't just go in here and go remove. It's going to tell you you need at least one member account.
Break down this member thing a little bit deeper.
All right, so hold on. So now domain users with okay, so now you want him to just be a regular domain user, no social media. So you go to add, and this is going to list you. Now this is the easiest way for you to do it. Okay, if you know it, you type it in here and you do check names. If you don't know it, this is the simplest way. Go to advanced and go to find now. This is going to list out all the groups, the member groups that I've created in Active Directory, right here. Account operators, administrators, all state users, audit team, RAM, IT folder access, CEOs and VPs. CEOs and VPs have full access to everything on the internet. They are not restricted at all. Okay, and then you go, and then domain users right here. Okay, okay, okay. Now, what you got to do, he's still not done. You got to click on the domain user account. You have to make that his primary group. Okay, now primary group is still domain user social media. Set that as a primary group. Go back in here and remove it. Done.
Now, do you think I should set everybody up as just domain users?
Yes.
That's it.
Unless,
And let them tell me that, let the managers tell me that they need access to other stuff.
yeah, that's what I do. They're all domain users in my book, unless otherwise stated.
A parts kind of person, sales.
They're all
service.
domain users. The only time is if I'm setting up, hey, can you set up a new user, Francesco Cefalo? He's going to be a social media guy. Well, obviously you can't block him.
Correct.
So you got to give him social media.
Now, would domain users allow them to get the sites like, you know, Auto Trader and things like that?
Yes.
Work-related sites?
Yes.
Do we block any car sites or anything like
No.
that?
No. Unless it's at a third-party site. Like sometimes I'll get blocks on like a parts guy is going to a third-party, outside third-party for an OEM part, and he might get blocked. Well, basically what I tell them at that point is, what's the URL? And what I'll do is I'll take that URL and put it in WebSense in the recategorize group and say this is an authorized company website.
But that's the exception. Those are
the exceptions.
Okay. So now let's do one user from scratch. If I right-click new. Well,
Okay,
So we
so-
A/B tested them.
So forget about this guy. Let's just get rid of him. We're going to create him again.
So you could just right-click, delete them. So now, what's the difference between disabling them and deleting them.
All right, so what I do is I delete them when I get the termination list from HR. Then I go ahead, so this is what I do. So in here, and I'm gonna set up queries for you. Okay,
What's that?
I'm gonna show you. Let's see, why didn't John Smith delete? There we go. All right, so I want to know all the disabled users on my domain right now. So I go to. Do you want to do this after?
Who's the next? Yeah.
All right, so
Let's
we're gonna set up a new user here. Okay. Now you don't have to right click and new. You could click on this guy too, and that's a new user.
Okay.
Okay. New user account. John Smith. Okay. One. Go in here.
Description would be store or the job.
Description is the store, and I'll tell you why I have it that way. Obviously, there's a preference for me, and I'll tell you why when we get to the queries. Office, sales.
Can you put sales F&I, whatever it is? Doesn't matter what you put.
Yeah.
You can put
Okay.
the job description in office.
That I don't care. As long as description is always the dealership, I run queries, reports on that. Okay. And queries, that's all it means, reports, right? J. Smith at Toyota Manhattan.com. Then I go into organization and I fill out job title.
Now this stuff will be filled out already if you copy and paste it.
Correct.
Okay, so yes, one less step if you copy and paste.
Exactly. So Toyota Manhattan, and then member of. By default, anytime you create a new
Oh,
user,
that's even better.
by
Yeah,
default,
I
it's
don't know
domain
that.
user.
That's great. That's
By
awesome.
default.
That's awesome.
All right.
Apply.
Apply. Okay. All right. Guys, done in Windows. Okay. Second thing we're going to do is we created an email for this guy already.
It's J. Smith.
So that's already done. And lastly, we're going to create an EDP account for this user. So we're going to go into Drive.
You want to go into my Drive login, so this way I see if I have access to maintenance.
Must know if that user's done. Okay, so in CDK, we're going to log in.
And LPA will be line ELB Y461.
Okay. We're going to go into our DMS. Sorry. We should have these tabbed. Go into our DMS.
I could do all the profiles through DMS, right? I don't need to do anything else. Any other
Yeah, no.
functions.
Okay, so to create a user profile, the function code is UUP under the main account. So obviously at this point you could either do an F1 if you don't know the main account, and you could just navigate to your main account. He gave you. Okay, and obviously here again you could do F1 if you're not familiar, but the function to go into updating a user profile is UUP. UUP. Now there's a password in UUP. The password is lowercase Bram 6401. Okay, so enter Grams, I spelled it. Grams 6401. Okay. At this point, we're setting up a finance manager, correct?
Yep.
Okay, so we're going to go to update. And basically, we're going to give this person a user ID. I try to keep them all the same. Smith J.
Same as the window.
Yeah. Don't want to complicate it.
It has to be lowercase or no?
No. I mean, you could do it either or. User ID doesn't matter. Okay. He's available. Now, if he wasn't available, it would tell us. It would populate with information here, and you would know that that's not an available account.
Now, what's
Okay.
DMS apps?
DMS app, I don't know, something
Just
new.
leave it alone?
It's something new. I leave it alone.
SSO, leave it alone.
Leave
Self-service.
all this alone. This has to do with like self-service. So enter. Last name Smith. First name John. Password. You don't have to. Do not put in a password. If you don't put in a password here, when they first log in for the first time, their password is blank. So they're going to put in Smith J and hit enter. And it's going to prompt them for a new password. So don't put in a password. Profile. This is where we go into UJP. Okay. So F1. He's a finance manager, right?
Mhm.
So we're going to go to. Now, one is finance manager with the availability of cash receipts, and the other one is finance manager. Now, this is the thing. Just by looking at this, I see that FIMR has been modified to allow cash receipts. I'm just seeing A in there and AC. So
So you tell me FIM1,
Just-
we could probably even delete.
I would delete FIM1. Yeah, I wouldn't use that. FIMR. Okay. Organizations. He's for Toyota of Manhattan. So once again, everything you could do F1. Always F1 for help. Okay. Toyota Manhattan is, I know it's 20. Enter. Default organization. Now, default organization means that if this guy has more than one dealership in here, which organization am I going to default him to? With only one, doesn't really freaking matter, but anyway, just put it 20. Okay, now,
You have to put default order now.
I don't think so. No. Accounts. F1. Now, Toyota of Manhattan. We're going to give him access to, now you got to know your accounts, right? So, Toyota Manhattan is MH. So, we're going to give him an MHFI. Okay. Usually with an F&I manager, I give him the -V account, which gives him access to his VMS, his vehicles. And if you need a cash receipting, A. Okay, do you want to give him cash receipting? Yes or no?
Well, it was in that.
Do you want to give it to him? Tell me if you want to give it to him.
I don't know.
If you give him cash receipting, it's an extra step in account. Now you got to set up something else in accounting for him to be able to. Let's give him cash receipting. All right. F3, F3. Okay, DSDA access by default, yes. Okay. If you don't want this user to have DSDA access, you can hit no. Okay.
Now I thought by clicking the FIMR profile, it should automatically populate the accounts underneath those accounts, like an MHTOI F&I. The FIMR should trigger off the functions in -FI, -V, -A. Am I correct?
What do you mean, sugar? You're just giving him the accounts that he can, that
Right.
the Manhattan Toyota account.
Correct.
FIMR cannot distinguish if he's a Manhattan Toyota F&I guy
I understand.
or an Acura F&I guy.
The
Okay.
accounts the access into those F&I.
We're going to go into that in a second. Now you go into Form Q. This is their line printer. Okay, so let's say if you don't know it, always F1. Right, and it lists out, it populates all the F&I printers. Okay, let's say he's P20 ACO1. Okay, all right, employee ID, don't worry about that. Now, this is what's new in ADP. Machines and enabled on, okay? For some reason, if they're not enabled on that machine, they cannot log in. So make sure these are both new DMS. We'll get to that in a second. This is an F&I guy, so you have to create a default laser printer for him, right? So down at the bottom, you're going to go to the next screen, F7. So you're going to go to F7, and that's where you put in his laser form and attached printer. Usually I populate them both. Okay, because attached printer, when you print out a schedule and it lists, do you want to do a line printer, attached printer, or sometimes you can print to your laser printer. So this guy's laser printer, let's say he's L, I don't know.
L28CO1.
Let's just use L, yeah, with the mark.
Now, Ed was saying these attached printers, though, would have to be to a 6350.
Yes, exactly. So, attached printer, you're going to do F1. It's going to send out all your forms printers here. Okay? Okay?
Let's put them to a 6350 for now.
6350. Done, done, done.
I don't have to touch anything on those, right? Just leave them alone.
That's it.
The way they
Yeah,
are.
there's already set to the characters, it's set. Okay? And then total connections, we
5.
usually go in here and give them 5. Okay? And do you know why?
Yes. How many
You see these tabs up here? Yeah, okay. Good. All right, and work location, I usually put in MH toy. Whatever the account is, I put it in. If you want, if later on John Kasha says, how many users do we have for Honda Manhattan? You can print out a report in ADP for everything on the work location MH toy.
Okay. Now, what's TCL access?
Tickle access. That's low level. That's if you want to do scripting in Unix.
No,
You would never do that.
Okay, so let's press F3 now and save this user.
Okay, F3?
F3.
No, now watch. This is what you were asking me. F5 goes into options. Okay, if you go to customize menus and functions, under the MH Toy FI account, this is what he has access to. He only has access to F&I, sales desk, reports, current menus, and in utility functions, probably only able to run RPX reports and English RPX reports. And
how'd you get to the next screen? You went to F6?
you go to whatever you want to go, F6.
To drill down.
To drill down, custom menu. And F3 is to kick yourself back. All right, now we gave him accounting access because we said we're going to give him cash receipting, right? Now, if Ed had this right now, he should only have access to ACC, which is to accept cash. Okay. Unit maintenance and reporting, AUN and DUN. So only to look up vehicles. He never gave them access to get ACC. So by default, he's not putting that in there. Okay?
So then,
Now, that's not a bad thing because not every FIMR gets cash receipting. So maybe you want to leave this like this, and if they just go in and give them cash receipting. You understand? Or there's the other one, FIM1. We'll leave that like that. So with cash receipting, you choose FIM1.
Okay.
Okay. This one only allows FIMR, only allows them AUN and DUN. Display units and add units. Okay. Do you want to give them ACC or not?
yeah.
Okay.
And then we'll take it out at
All right. So we'll give them ACC. And now, when you press F3 now it's creating the account. Okay, so this popped up is because it's saying that you've modified the exceptions because we gave this user ACC. So it's just letting you know, listen, you've added something that wasn't part of the exception, okay? So just F3 out of here and let it keep creating the account.
Yeah, done.
Okay. Oh, now DSDA access. I forgot to show you that. Let's go back into that for a second. Because before it wasn't an option in UUP, now with Drive, they put it in UUP. They made it even easier, which I like.
So we have to go into DSDA and find out what he needs access to.
Like, you need to know what kind of DSDA access he needs first, you know? So you can mark cabinets to him, you know, because DSDA is just basic virtual cabinets, right?
It'll give him all the stores, or just
No, by default, it gives him nothing right now. Yeah, you say he has access to DSDA, but he can't pull anything up because you haven't assigned the cabinet to him. It's taking awfully long. Okay, created the account. Let's just go back in. That's Jai. You're gonna go into options. F5.
Yeah.
And then you're gonna go, this is new for me, so bear with me. Customize menus, I believe. No. Application global. Wait.
let's scroll down to DMS access, DSDA access. What happens there? No,
Let's see.
options F5 maybe with the DSDA.
Yeah, 5 goes back into this. All right, do application setups. Yeah, DSDA. Okay, application setups. DSDA, update DSDA access. Okay. Okay. So in here, you're going to assign a cabinet to him. Okay. So you're going to say, okay, F&I, he could go. You're going to assign an F&I cabinet to him, and you're going to assign the access. Is he only a viewer, a user, a manager, or an administrator?
I would say viewer, right?
Let's say you don't need him to add anything to a DSDA, just view DSDA. You would say viewer.
It looks like they're already defaulted to you to viewers.
Yeah, they're already defaulted unless you mention manager or not. Okay, viewer. Okay, filter. These are the cabinets, and then they're able under. Now you can say none to that, to accounting, or you can say yes to accounting, but now you can deny certain, like, see financial statements. You can deny access to, well, it's already by default. It'll show you what he's allowed to view and what he isn't. All right?
He's allowed to be on-demand checks, parts, invoices.
I don't think he is. So what I would do for an F&I manager, none, fact. Now in accounting, you'll see the documents that he's able to, and oh no, that's it. That's his documents he's allowed to view.
Maybe perhaps it's set up by the
Job
profile.
I don't really touch the
Document
SDI much.
security mode.
This
Has to be
ask
by the job profile.
Ed
or
about
by
this.
Yeah.
Ask Ed about this. He manages
watch,
the
see.
SDI.
Saving
Probably
it
just
'cause
by
it's
job profile.
By job profile. That's why
So
it is.
ask Ed about this.
Okay.
He manages the SDI. I really don't. All right, let's get out of this.
This isn't not responding. Let me make sure it's safe though.
All right, so now you created your user, but now the last thing with an F&I manager, what does an F&I manager get paid on?
Commission.
Yeah, so you got to set up a DMS ID for them, right?
Yes. Everyone needs a DMS ID except for everyone does, right?
Service advisor, salesperson, yeah, F&I, closing manager.
What about like an inventory manager? Do they need a DMS?
You have to listen, if you're getting paid commission, you need a DMS ID. But just think about it that way.
An office person, do they need a DMS ID?
No.
All right.
No. They don't take themselves to any deals or any ROs or anything like that. Okay. F3 to create this user. Now, for an F&I manager, you go into the F&I account and go into UD. UD. Oh, you could do this afterwards. You're recording this. That's right. Oh, thank you. Okay. So now we got to create a DMS ID. Okay. So you go into the F&I.
I thought it was A&M.
You go into A&M, but I'll tell you why. In A&M, you can create a user, but you cannot assign a job profile to it, telling it it's an F&I guy or salesperson or closing manager. If you go directly into UD, you can create that A&M entry, including the title.
Now you have to use UD with everyone?
In sales, you should use UD.
What about in service?
In service, you should use A&M.
Parts A&M.
Parts A&M.
So everyone in sales use UD.
UD. You should go under the dealership, because think about it. If you don't go into UD, you can go create the guy in A&M, but you still have to go into UD and create the job profile for him. To distinguish, is he a salesperson, an F&I guy, or closing manager? You understand? So I just go directly into UD, add an updated employee. That takes you right into A&M. So control number, the last four of his social, 1, 2, 3, 4. Right?
We didn't add that anywhere. So it's the first time we're adding that. Right?
This is the first time we're adding. Yeah. 1, 2, 3, 4. That gets you into A&M. You're familiar with this, right? And it already assigns the control type 7. 1, 2, 3, 4. Last name Smith. First name John. F3. I don't care about the rest of the fields. The only thing I don't know why we even do it, but we go into gender and make it a male. That's really all you need.
What's the control type 7?
Salesperson.
8, I think, a service.
Service and mechanics. Okay, so in here, you're done. F3. F3, save and exit, takes you back into UD. and now you give it a job class. Now in here is where you either set it up as a salesperson, a sales manager. Ooh. Go ahead and change it. Right now we set them up as a sales manager. 1, 2, 3, 4. Set them up as an F9. Now this is very important where you put him. You know why? So I'll show you. You go to F9, you pull up a deal. Okay. When you go into the
Green,
which one?
M.
Is it the miscellaneous? I don't think so. Yes. When you go into the miscellaneous screen, if you
Hey, Sal. No, I'm with Marco right now. Your scanner's not working. Okay, I'll let him know. No problem. Okay. She wants to let you know that, so don't work on that.
nothing. So typical. Okay, so if he won't come up in sales manager in here. He won't be available.
Try W.
Oh, W is still not window, yeah. See, 1, 2, 3, 4 won't be available unless I make it as SM. But he'll be available in here. Window 1, 2, 3, 4, John Smith. Okay.
So what are the function codes exactly for those? Is there a list?
Let me see. Hold on, let me break.
SP, SM, SW.
Let's see if there's a list.
If you put a question mark in, just break out of that, cancel.
No, you can't. It's password
You said
protected now.
yes, you want to zap the deal.
Yeah, but it's password protected.
Try keep out.
To zap a deal, what's the password?
Oh, what's that? The Zappa deal?
Yeah.
Or
What is it?
the Zappa deal?
Yeah.
Or to access a deal?
No, I'm trying to zap a deal that
What store? I'll have to look it up.
it's here in Manhattan.
Online is Hard Rock. HARDROCK.
That's Alyssa. She said they'll prepare for the take that.
Here you go. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Bye. Got some hot cock. Oh, this is okay. And
Hey, Luke.
hey, could you go help Sylvia with her scans folder? Doesn't work.
Okay.
It's probably to the wrong IP address.
Okay. Is that it?
All right.
Okay.
Bye. Okay. Are you recording my voice?
Mhm.
Oh, good. All right.
Go into UD for a second, right?
Okay.
And then press the question mark when it
Yes.
prompts you for- Snap to.
I think it does. I think it does come up. Yeah, it does come up.
So those are the only job classes you could assign. BC is what?
It'll, BC
Is that
is, yeah,
Closing manager?
closing manager.
DC?
I have no clue. I never used that in my life, DC.
What's service advisor then?
Service advisor, you don't create it, you did.
Okay, you created through A&M.
Yeah.
GC, CM.
I either use CM, closing manager, F&I, sales manager, salesperson. No dealerships use BC either. They don't use that. They don't tag that in the deal. They either tag closing manager, and F&I, sales manager, or salesperson. Okay. Now, being that we just created this, we're going to want to delete him, right?
Yeah.
Police status tonight. He'll purge out.
Now he'll be deleted, and let's delete him in the email, and let's delete him
Okay,
in
now-
Active Directory too.
Now, okay, now this is an F&I guy with cash receipting. So you want to give him access to cash receipting, ACC. Okay, so to create that, you have to go into accounting because that's where they accept money. Okay, and once again, the function, and you'll get this, is I think it's SMA. SMA is to create purchase orders. Okay. Change security. This is for purchase orders. Okay. Maintain user ID. This is where you create user access for POs. People that issue POs. Okay,
Right.
not cash receiving. This is not cash receiving.
Service
Okay.
managers, parts managers.
Yes. Yep. Office, the office. Cash receiving is, this is where SMA is for purchase orders. SAM is for cash receiving. Okay, and what you're gonna do in here is you gotta go set up the cashier information. That's the only option you're gonna go into is 5. Okay? And you gotta set up a cashier. Okay, because when they go to accept cash receipts, they have to tag themselves in. That's how you know that they've accepted it.
Now, how many F&I managers in the company do cash receiving?
Sales managers, not F&I. Some F&I. See, that's why you have F&I manager with cash receiving, because some F&I managers at certain dealerships could act as a sales manager too. You have like a Freddie Velez, which is almost like a F&I manager / sales manager. Like you can't make heads or tails what they are. So cashier, and basically you just set up the cashier ID. See, now at this dealership, Vicky, Angelo, Rebecca, Kevin, Cynthia, Elizabeth, Freddie, George, Lang, and Kalia, they're the ones that are allowed to accept money. Get it out of here. All right? All right, so now we can go back in and delete this guy. If you go into UUP, password brand 6401, delete. Display all users to delete. Now, you can either scroll down, or if you know the person you're deleting, F9 to search. Smith J. There he is. Enter once, highlights him. F3, delete. And in here, do it all.
So what was the delete through UD?
Delete through UD, you deleted him in F&I as a finance manager. If you go in here and delete him in UUP, it will not delete his UD access. No.
So it's a 2-step delete process in AUP.
Yeah.
Even the same for A&M now.
Yeah.
I have to delete from A&M, delete from
A&M is so outdated today because nobody ever goes in and does that. Nobody ever goes in and does that.
So they just delete them from UUP, not from A&M.
Nope. And sometimes I get a service manager that calls me up, or a sales manager that calls me up, Marco, could you get rid of these F&I people? So I tell them, let's go one by one. Give me all I'll read them off. I'll go into L&M, list name maintenance, list them all out and say, listen, who's here, who's not, and then purge them all out. I just did this for Hudson the other day, for Hudson Honda.
Wow.
Hudson Honda deleted about 80 accounts.
And that were in the,
Yeah. Now see, this is the thing. That should be an accounting thing. That accounting should do, because they have the payroll records. They don't do it. So once again, it becomes an IT job. You understand? Because people neglect to do what they're supposed to do. Can't help it. Okay, so we deleted that user in ADP. Let's go back into FuseMail. Now, okay, so let me give you, when you get a request to remove a user, I never delete them until after the termination report. I always disable them
in Active Directory.
in everything. So I'll tell you what, in Active Directory, John Smith, he's gone today. Right click, disable. He's still in here. So if he gets rehired tomorrow, all I have to do is right click enable. I don't have to recreate his whole account again. Because when you create a user account in a directory, okay, it creates what's called an SID, a SID. Okay? That SID lives in computers. So right now, Albie.
What's SID?
Microsoft Windows. Profile list. Okay, these are what's called SIDs. Okay, so see all these user accounts in here?
Mhm.
This is what you see on the front end. This is in English. This is the back end. This is the brains of the system. Your Albie D'Estasio ID, D'Estasio A, in computer language, you're really S-1-5-21-302, okay? That's computer language. Okay, that's really your user ID. Okay, now, that SID correlates to this Albert D'Estasio in Active Directory. Okay, if I disable Albie D'Estasio, your SID on the network is still the same if I re-enable it. But if I delete, so what happens is I disable Albert D'Estasio, right? You come back tomorrow, I re-enable you. You can log back into this computer and see this whole desktop the way it is. It'll stay here. It'll live here because it correlates to your SID. If I delete your Albert D'Estasio in here, it removes your SID. So if I create a new Albert D'Estasio, new D'Estasio A, you would think it would create the same SID. No, it creates a brand new one. So when you log back into your computer here, it's going to create a brand new profile for you. This will not exist.
So now,
Make sense?
just disabling users though, is it the reason why we delete them is it just taking up space or something like that, or is it just?
I just purge them. Listen, the likelihood of I might get one a year that might get fired and come back. You know? And another thing is this too. The reason why I don't delete them right away is because I'll get Toyota Manhattan to tell me, hey, listen, John Smith is no longer with us. Kill him. But then 3 days later, I get a call from Hudson Honda. Hey, we just hired a John Smith, F&I manager.
Right, I was gonna ask you that.
You know, so I'm like, wait, is this the same John Smith that we just terminated at Toyota Manhattan? Yes, it is. So I don't terminate them unless I get the final termination report from HR that he's gone, and he's not a transfer. You understand? Then at that point, I'll run my query of disabled users, purge them all out,
We do it in one shot.
one shot.
What about emails? You can do it in one shot for email?
Emails, you can click, delete in one shot. ADP, click, delete. ADP is a little bit more cumbersome, but you could delete them in one shot.
Now, through a UD or an A&M?
You want to show me? You want me to show you?
Well,
All right. So in here,
let's delete John Smith because we know that we have to.
yeah, John Smith is gone. I just want to show. I just want to give you a good understanding.
I understand.
Delete.
Now let's remove
Okay.
this email.
Let's get out of this registry. Okay, his email. So his email, I believe we already did. We delete it? Okay, so his email. Look how many. See where it says log in? It means it's active. See all these suspended accounts?
Yeah.
Look how many suspended accounts at Toyota Manhattan. Because I was there the other day, and I suspended all these accounts. So as soon as I get my termination report, and I fill it all out, all I have to do is click, and then at the bottom, instead of suspend, terminate. Gone in one shot. John Smith. Jay Smith, he's right here. Suspend. Oh no, John, I want to get rid of. Jay Smith. Terminate. Okay, he's gone. ADP, did we do that? Yes, we did. Windows, did we do that? Yes, we did. Okay. So he's all done.
All right. You want to stop the recording and then we can always play.
Yeah, now I'm sure you can have questions, Q&A. Let's do
We'll
that.
have to watch it again later.